everyone, welcome back. This is Aaron. Today we're having a look at another traditional tarot deck for playing card games with. This one is from Italy, and it's actually the most common tarot deck for Italian traditional games. It's from up north in the Piedmont region, and in Italian it's called the Tarocco Piemontese. There's two big playing card manufacturers in Italy, Del Negro and Moriano, and the Tarocco Piemontese, when you look at it, looks a lot like the Tarot de Marseille. And historically, that's actually more or less what it is. Italian makers took the Tarot de Marseille and optimized it for gameplay. Let's start by having a look at the trumps. So first we've got the Bagatto, trump number 1, the Bateleur in the Tarot de Marseille. Then we have the Papess and the Empress, and then the Emperor and the Pope. In Italian they're called la Papessa, l'Imperatrice, l'Imperatore, and il Papa. The Pope and the Papess for diviners decks such as the Rider-Waite were changed to the High Priestess and the Hierophant, but these are the original historical names and characters that are on those cards. Moving along from here, trump number 6 is the Lovers, gli Amanti in Italian, the Chariot, which is il Carro, and then la Giustizia, Justice, l'Eremita, which is the Hermit, and la Ruota della Fortuna, the Wheel of Fortune. Again, if you've seen a divination deck, you'll recognize each of those. For gameplay, what's really useful is all of these trump cards have the number in the top left corner, so you can fan them out like a regular hand of cards. You've still got the really cool visual imagery, but you've also got the numbers there that make it a lot easier to see what you're doing. Number 11 is la Forza, Strength, and so you've got the lion, the lady holding the lion's mouth open. La Peso, which is the Hanged Man. La Morte, number 13, Death. Number 14 is La Temperanza, Temperance. And then 15, Il Diavolo, the Devil. The other difference between this deck and something like the Tarot de Marseille is they're all double-headed, so it doesn't matter which way up you hold the card. Essentially, you've got the same image. Much easier for gameplay. Number 16 is La Torre, the Tower. Number 17 is Le Stelle, the Stars. 18 is La Luna, the Moon, and 19 Il Sole, the Sun. And that brings us to the two top trumps, which is number 20, L'Angelo, and number 21, Il Mondo. Something that is interesting is that in most Piemontese games, the 20 is actually the highest card. They reverse the 20 and the 21. This is because in a lot of games from other places in northern Italy, such as Bologna, the angel, or the judgment, depending on what you call it in your deck, was actually the highest card, and the world was the second highest card. In those decks, the trumps weren't numbered, so there wasn't necessarily a reason that one had to be above the other. And in Piedmont decks, that tradition in most Piedmont games has continued over, even though the trumps are numbered. In a lot of these games played with this deck, the 20 is actually the highest. Then you have the Fool, which in Italian is Il Matto, and it is numbered 0 in this deck. Moving on to the pip cards, two things that you need to know is that in the plain suits, the suits of cups and coins are usually ranked backwards, meaning that 10 is the lowest and the ace is the highest. Now all of these suit cards, you just have the pips, basically just cup icons with the correct number there, and then the number, the index up in the top left corner, until you get to the 2, which is a bit more fancily illustrated, and then the ace has a really nice illustration of the cup there. Then we have the 4 court cards like every other tarot deck. You've got the king, the queen, so il re and la donna, and then the horse, il cavallo, the knight you could also call, and the jack. So two things to notice with the jack there. The first is that in this deck, 2 of the jacks are actually female, and also they don't have the word fante on it that you might expect, fante being the jack in most other Italian decks. Then this is the suit of sticks or batons, wands, whatever you want to call it. Bastoni in Italian at any rate. These ones are also numbered, but they're numbered with Roman numerals that instead of being in the top left corner are on the sides. And the straight suits, so the swords and the sticks, in these decks are actually ranked normally. So the ace is lowest and the 10 is top. And then when you get to the ace, you've seen ones like that before. If you've seen the Tarot de Marseille, you'd be used to seeing the ace with the hand holding the rod. Let's take a look at the court cards. We've got Il Re de Bastoni, the King of Clubs, and then the Donna di Bastoni, the Queen of Clubs, and then Il Cavallo, and again Il Fante. This one is male. Next, let's look at the suit of coins. I really like how this is done in the Tarocco Piemontese. You can see that the numbers are actually in each of the coin icons. Again, the two round suits, cups and coins, are ranked backwards, so 10 is the lowest and ace is the highest. And each of them is just the correct number of pips. It doesn't have the sort of full page illustrations like a diviner's deck, like the Raider White or something does. But in this case, again, it's very similar to the Tarot de Marseille. So the 3 is a little more decorative. The 2 has the band connecting the 2 coins. This is common in almost all of the traditional tarot and tarocco decks of this nature. And then you've got the ace, which has the circle in the middle for the tax stamp. Italian playing card decks were always subject to tax in the past, and one of the cards, generally the ace of coins, would have a patch where you could stamp the thing saying you'd paid the tax on the deck. Now we've got Il Re de Denari, so the King of Coins, La Donna di Denari, the Queen of Coins, the Horse of Coins, the Knight, and then we've got a Jack there who again looks female. Or at least kind of maybe androgynous, maybe a young boy. So lastly, we've got the suit of swords, the second of the long suits along with clubs. And again, the long suits, swords and clubs, are both ranked with the ace at the bottom and the 10 at the top. The easiest way to tell them apart visually is that the swords are curved. This is the same in all Northern Italian decks. The clubs are straight and the swords are curved. And again, like the clubs, they are numbered with Roman numerals. They're a little easier to read in your hand because they're up in the corner. So they're a little bit easier if you've got your cards fanned out to see the indices on them. And then the ace, again, like the Tarot de Marseille, you've got the hand holding a sword. That just leaves the court cards. We've got the King of Swords, Re di Spade, La Donna di Spade, Il Cavallo di Spade, and Il Fante di Spade. There's a couple of bonus cards in the box. One of them is a joker, and it just says La Matta. And then you've also got a card which has a scoring table for how many points various cards are worth in tarocchi, so Northern Italian tarot games. And also you've got a little book with the rules for tarocchi, so the basic tarocchi that they play up there, and also the rules for a game called Mitigati, which is also a game basically based on that, but with an added sort of a different sort of bargaining element to it. At some point in the future, I will eventually have some videos explaining how to play Piedmontese tarocchi and also how to play Mitigati, so keep your eye on the channel for those. One of the reasons that I wanted to look at this deck was actually a conversation I had with Mark, who is from another YouTube channel called Riffle, Shuffle and Roll. Mark was asking about games such as traditional American games, like things like Rummy, and whether you could adapt any of them to play with a 78 card tarot deck or a derivation thereof. And I suggested to him that if he wanted to have a play with that and maybe create some adaptations, a good deck to use for things like that might be the Tarocco Piemontese, simply because a couple of things that people like about it is that firstly, it's a full 78 card tarot deck, but secondly, it looks like what most people from English-speaking countries think of when you say tarot deck. Okay, that was the Tarocco Piemontese. Thanks so much for watching this video, and don't forget to hit subscribe down below so that you hear more about anything else to do with playing tarot card games. Also join us on the Discord. You're looking for the traditional card games Discord. You can come and hang out with a bunch of card nerds like me, and you can practice some of these games that you've been learning on the channel. Okay, thanks.